about today?
So we're going to be talking about manhood or manliness or masculinity. All different words kind of describing the same thing that I think we're trying to get to the heart of.
Right.
And that is what defines not just a man, but a good man. A man that is worthy of respect and honor and emulation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I think why we wanted to do this topic and why we've been like planning it out for a while now is we had done a previous one on fatherhood, and it just kind of was like, man, if we're talking about fatherhood, we need to really do a deep dive on what it is to be a man.
Yeah.
There's just so much confusion today in our culture, in our world about it. Like there's not a day that goes by that you don't hear something about the LGBTQ alphabet soup of letters community and just the confusion that's there. But just this, even in our education systems and the things I hear kids asking or have to ask, like it was never a question when I was little, right? When I was a kid. But now there's just kids are being fed so many different things right now. I just feel like with that kind of relativism and that kind of fluidity with definitions, I think it's pointed and very important for those that know the truth to speak it out in love. And that's what we're going to hope to do today on what masculinity is. So yeah, I'm excited for this one.
I would say, just to push back a little.
Okay.
For sure, we are in kind of mass cultural confusion. I mean, we just ended the month of June, right? Which supposedly is Pride Month.
Right.
That's what I'm told, at least. It shows up in my Apple calendar. And maybe thankfully or not, it's July 1st when we're recording this. So we're gone. That's past us. But I would submit that confusion has always existed. I mean, we see that throughout the Bible. There's plenty of societies and cultures that had a far different view of masculinity.
Sure.
And family and just general value system that I think we'll bring out throughout this discussion, right?
For sure.
What's different here for us is, we're a country arguably founded on Judeo-Christian values that have kind of been the main thread throughout culture, at least, for the past 200 years in this country. So it's just, that's normal to us, but I don't think that's normal to like human history.
Sure.
So
yeah, I want to agree with that because it can be easy for us to get like tunnel vision in our own time, our own culture. And I think what I was trying to refer to, so thank you for saying, putting a little pushback on there. I was trying to refer to our specific culture time frame.
Yep.
Because like you look back at the Greek culture, it was very fluid.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's what's interesting, and we will get into it at least in one of the episodes that we do. Just how the biblical approach to it, the biblical perspective of masculinity really is I don't know what metaphor I want to use there, but just it's a culture shock to everything else.
Oh yeah.
Right. And it lines up with the reality that God originally created and what he wants for mankind.
Yep.
And so the goal here, what we're wanting to do is to get back into that thread and speak that thread and proclaim it, if you will. Yeah. So for sure.
Yeah. So I think, just to keep going with that, I think for every culture across human history, the biblical, godly version of what manhood looks like has always been countercultural.
Right.
To include American culture. The differences there again, just that we have our culture over the last 200 years has been primarily based in a biblical ethic, a biblical worldview. And we're seeing over the last, 60 years now?
70 years,
yeah. A clear divergence from not just traditional American values, but in that same vein, biblical values, right?
For sure.
But it's not uniquely American. That's very uniquely human.
Yeah.
We've been doing it ever since the fall,
Right.
So, but the clarion call from God is always drawing his people back, drawing men back to himself and to their ultimate purpose.
Yeah. And I think in that is just this really good idea that because it's not uniquely American, we have if you will, a universal solution. The biblical truth is the solution to it, regardless if it's an American fix or any other country or any other culture. The solution is still biblical.
Yep.
And I think that's encouraging because we do have a solution.
Yeah.
Right? If God were to have removed his truth, I think mankind would have wiped ourselves out a long time ago.
For sure.
But it's just his common grace to keep us in check, to keep sin in check. And so let's keep being that salt, and let's go, no, hold on. This is what manhood is.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where we're going to stand with it and come what may.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Thank you for bringing that up.
Of course.
One of the things we're going to kind of just segue right out of that into just some of the definitions that are out there. And I think as we discussed this beforehand, you talked about, as we were going over some of these definitions, there are grains of truth in each one of these. Mm-hmm. And even in other cultures, like you just talked about, like we see reflections of truth. We see reflections of true masculinity, but they're usually very marred, and they're usually just glimmers, like a flash in the pan, here and gone. But they're there. And that's, again, God's common grace that there could be something. So I did a basic Google definition. What is masculinity into Google, or what is manhood, I think. Mm-hmm. And it just came up with the state or period of being a man rather than a child. Okay. It doesn't say a lot. Boys in the process of growing to manhood. Similar definition: maturity, sexual maturity, adulthood. Men, especially those of a country, regarded collectively, if I can speak correctly tonight. Germany had lost the best of her young manhood. Qualities traditionally associated with men, such as courage, strength, and sexual potency. We drank to prove our manhood. Again, grains of truth, just this idea of
drinking to prove our manhood.
No, not grains of truth, like courage, strength, those tend to be things throughout history that's kind of associated with men. And maturity, those types of things. But just, I thought it was interesting how Google just kept trying to throw it back onto sexuality.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, being a man has to do with the way God made you.
Yeah.
From the beginning. He made them male and female. Mankind is male and female, but man was first, then female.
Yeah. Let me touch on that for a second. But first, the drinking to be a man.
Go for it.
Remind me to come back to the male and female separate thing.
Okay.
I was making a joke, right? Like, you don't drink to be a man, but it made me think of the picture of Jesus, right? And he asking for the cup to be removed from him, right? And so actually...
that's actually pretty cool.
Right? That's deep.
Yeah, that's really deep.
He had to drink the cup.
Yeah.
To fulfill being the man God, right? The Messiah, the Christ, the Savior. So I joked, but there is some truth there.
There is some truth.
There is still a grain of truth.
Yeah.
So back to male versus female, and are there distinct differences? So we should call that out, right? Because as you alluded to earlier, that seems to be under assault today.
For sure.
And again, I would argue that's not just a today thing. That's we can read it in Scripture, and for any secular listener here, you can read it in history books.
Right.
It doesn't have to be in the Bible, although there is history in the Bible. But there's plenty of cultures across time that have gone through this and we seem to be, there's nothing new under the sun. So here we are again. But I think it's pretty clear that there's a distinction.
Yes.
And, there's a man is someone with an XY chromosome, and that manifests very differently and uniquely as they mature in age. You know, it's like literally written on their DNA from the cellular level on up to, the facial hair, the bigger, denser bones, the more muscle. And I know there will be people that, call out very small men compared to like these large, monstrous, jacked women. So there is a spectrum, I guess we do have to acknowledge that, and there can be within men with an XY chromosome, you can have, the rocks of the world, like big jacked dudes that are, culturally stereotyped males, or the awesome musician with the long hair and a man bun and super effeminate, but like creates phenomenal art, both men on a spectrum within masculinity, and the same thing for females. But there's, despite all that, still very truly two unique sexes, male and female.
Thank you guys for listening. I really appreciate it. If this encouraged you guys, we'd appreciate if you would like, subscribe, hit that bell. If you are feeling generous, we would love it if you could leave us a 5-star review on Apple or Spotify. But yeah, thank you so much for listening, and God bless, guys.